Do you want a financially secure future, not just for yourself, but for your loved ones as well? This is Generations of Wealth, the podcast that breaks down the most effective wealth building strategies you can easily apply to your own life. Join investor and international best-selling author Derek Dombeck in exploring practical tips and sound advice on building a profitable business, creating a powerful brand, or getting into the thriving world of real estate investing. This is your chance to create your very own financial roadmap to live your vision, love your life. Let's begin this discussion with your host, Derek Dombeck.
Welcome to the Generations of Wealth podcast. I'm your host, Derek Dombeck. This is the show where we try and bring you guests that are going to help you live your vision, love your life. Today is absolutely no different. We've got a guest named Alex Coffman. Before I bring on Alex, I wanted to mention that if you've missed any of our previous episodes, or if you're looking for information on my books, Next Level Your Life or The Transformational Journey, or you're interested in joining Circle of Trust Mastermind, anything that we can do to help you, go to thegenerationsofwealth.com. You can always find all of our content, all of our information on everything that we do right there at the one-stop shop. So thegenerationsofwealth.com. Also, please interact with us on the Generations of Wealth Facebook page and get out there and like and share this content no matter where you find it on whatever platform you're on. So with that, let's bring on Alex Coffman. So I am so excited to bring you guys Alex Coffman. We were talking before the show. He's a Texas guy, and I love Texas for different reasons because of my background in the bucking bull industry, but I get down there as often as I can, and now I've got another reason to go because Alex is just straight up awesome guy. I know this is going to be a great show. Alex Coffman, welcome to the Generations of Wealth show. Please introduce yourself. Let the audience know a little bit about you.
Sure. Thanks, Derek. Happy to be here. My name's Alex Coffman, born and raised here in Austin. We were just talking about that. And me and my partner, Matt, have been in the real estate business for about 20 years total. Matt's been in it for about 13, myself about 7. But, I don't know how deep you want to get into it, but I was never... I was always a business guy. And so I was always, running my own businesses. When I was younger, it was in, non-productive and illegal ways. I got sober when I was 21 years old. By the time I was 21, I was a full-blown heroin addict. And when I got sober when I was 21, I turned my life around and really just went on a search for what was the legal business that I was going to create. I did not want to go get a job. I did not want to go to college and live the life that my family and everybody else did. Not that it was a bad life or anything. I just knew that wasn't really my path. And so after I got sober, I really kind of started my life over from the beginning. I was 21 years old. I was making $8.25 an hour working at Firehouse Subs. I was managing a sober living house, living in a house with 8 other guys, sleeping on the top bunk of a bunk bed in Fort Worth, Texas, and really just starting from ground zero. But, kind of what we were talking about initially of the message of this podcast was I had really found inner peace, and I was, for the first time in my life, happy, had a relationship with God, living by spiritual, terms, helping people. And that really changed my life, And so even though I was sleeping on the top bunk of a bunk bed, I was making $8.25 an hour. I was the happiest I'd ever been in my life. And so from there, really just kind of started looking for, because I was broke at the time, when I finally got sober, I had nothing. And so I really had to start building from scratch. And so from there, I was just looking for, what was I going to do? What business was I going to start? Where was I going to invest my money? Because I always knew that that's how I was going to grow and create income for myself, was through investments. And, for a period of 3 years or so, when I was, first getting sober, I managed sober living houses. I had different jobs. I upgraded from Firehouse Subs to dishwasher at a country club, and I was then making $12 an hour. But then got a real opportunity to start diving into some different industries. I I worked for an oil and gas company, cold calling mineral right owners and trying to get them to sell their mineral rights for our mineral fund. Very similar to real estate. Then I got into, I went and worked for a company that did, they took all these computer parts, that other people were selling in bulk, and they would resell those things. And that was very interesting to me because that was a lot like selling drugs. You bought these computer parts in, bulk at discounted prices, and then you resold them individually at higher prices. And then around that time is when I started getting into real estate. So my partner, Matt, I've known him for probably like 21 years. I grew up with his younger brother. And that's when Matthew started, showing me all the stuff that he was doing within real estate. We connected on business. He was a real estate broker at the time already, already had investment properties, had a property management company. And so we started looking at real estate investments that we could buy together. So we, bought a house here, bought a duplex there, bought an 8-plex, and then really started going all in on real estate investing. This was 2018, 2019, 2020 when we were really getting into it. And then we started a real estate brokerage together. Still have the real estate brokerage. It's TRE here in Texas. We have about 110 agents with us. We teach real estate agents how to invest in real estate and actually create wealth, how to wholesale deals, flip deals, buy deals subject to with seller financing, as well as, doing traditional real estate stuff, but being the true real estate entrepreneur. We started a real estate fund, been raising capital. We have about 250 doors currently, probably about a $45 million portfolio. But we're just, continuing to grow and build that out. But it's been a journey. And I think that I finally found, back when Matt and I connected, finally found the path that I wanted to take, which was real estate.
So you're basically saying you haven't really done much in your life.
I feel like I haven't.
No, this is awesome because so many people make bullshit excuses as to why they can't get into any business, let alone real estate. And, you're here killing it with commercial, you're raising money, you're teaching other people how to do that. And some of the questions that I'm going to have, because we've got some age difference between us, and I started in 2003. Hell, I bought my first properties that were advertised in a newspaper, right? And now on comes the internet, and things are just changing so rapidly in our industry. How did you make that transition, like to get started and not have the fears? Or how did you overcome the fears? I'm sure you had some, but
yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I don't know if you're a spiritual man or not, but with God, there is no fear. I used to be just riddled with fear my entire life. I'm not saying that I don't experience fear today. I experience fear all the time. But, once I formed that relationship with God, I finally had a solution for fear, right? Like fear for me is just it's an experience that I'm having. It's made up. It's all bullshit that I play in my head. It's all these made up things that I'm in fear are going to happen. They're not actually reality. And it's basically just like me on my own without trusting in God, right? And then once I do put my trust in God and what's going to happen in the future, and also too, put the action in place to actually accomplish what I'm looking to accomplish, the fear goes away. I don't really care what anybody thinks about me. Like my opinion of myself and God's opinion of me is the only opinion that really matters, right? So I feel like when I got sober, and I really learned that, and have learned it over the years through experience and, really working on myself back then, was that what's there to be in fear about? Like, who cares? And when fear does come up, because I still experience fear all the time, but when I put that trust in God for whatever that situation is, the fear seems to, dissipate. So like with real estate investing, I mean, I've taken lots of risks in my life, and I've taken a lot of risks, prior to getting sober that never paid off. And real estate's pretty simple. It's pretty easy. It's easy to minimize that risk drastically by buying really good deals, following, the fundamentals, and also too by holding on to these deals, right? Like we're not flipping deals left and right. We have flipped plenty of houses, but that's not our our business plan. And so buying good deals, buying them at the right prices, making sure that they cash flow and holding on to these for, a long period of time pretty much, minimizes all the risks that are involved.
Well, I love a couple things you said there. These are calculated risks, and usually when the outside public are telling you, and this could be a family member, this could be a close friend of yours, saying, what you're doing is so risky, Alex. Well, they're coming from an uneducated space, or possibly a space of jealousy or their own fear of what they have not accomplished themselves. And I know over all the years, everything that I've done, when I realized and stopped caring what other people thought, as you said, that was the second point, it is so freeing. Like, stop living for everybody else. Live for yourself, live for your family. And it is so freeing. And certainly I'm not out to offend people or make enemies. And I don't believe I have too many enemies in the world, but I don't have to live my life based off of how many likes or shares I get on social media and what everybody thinks about me. So
yeah, there's that. And I mean, like, driving my car to the office this morning is more riskier than buying the real estate investments we buy. Like, I could easily die just hopping in my car and driving to the office from some freak accident. But I'm not going to die buying these real estate investments. And then also too, I think it also for me just kind of comes from a place of like knowing that like I told you at the beginning of this, when I was 21 years old, I was sleeping on that top bunk of the bunk bed, living at the sober living house and working at Firehouse Subs, making $8.25 an hour. That was the happiest I'd ever been in my life up to that point. And so I know even if I lose everything, it doesn't mean anything. Even if I lost every single real estate investment, all the businesses, and I went back to working at Firehouse Subs, making $8.25 an hour, I have the ability to be happy internally through my relationship with God and through, spirituality. And so I always have that knowledge to fall back on that, like, hey, if I lose everything from this risk that I'm taking, oh well, like, I'll go back. I know that it's not going to ruin me, and I can rebuild from there.
Well, and there's two things that are really good news for you. You've already got the knowledge that you've gained, so getting it back is easier. And I know that because I did lose everything in the 2007 crash and had to start over. And the second great thing is, because of our beloved government, you would now make more than $8.25 an hour at Firehouse Subs.
Yeah, that's true. It'd be like $15 an hour.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's double damn near. I mean, these are just awesome backup plans.
Yeah.
So I know that you're big on core values and you're big on helping people. Talk about that, because in my world, and that's what the Generations of Wealth is. Like, I love this show. I love giving back. I love educating people. You and I haven't met before recording this show, but I host 3 national mastermind groups at this point called the REI Circle of Trust. We put on a conference every year on a cruise ship. All these things are really what gives me fire and passion, because real estate deals in general are somewhat boring when you get really good at it. But giving back and helping people, that never gets old. So talk about your core values and helping people.
Yeah, I guess with core values, and this always kind of comes to like things that I do with myself. Number one is integrity, honesty. When I'm honest with myself, and this is where being able to help people comes into play too, is I am back to being free from, other people's opinions. When I started telling myself the truth about my situation, that's when my life really started to change too, right? When I stopped babying myself, when I stopped, telling myself I didn't need to do things or whatever delusion I was living in my head, is when I really started to be free. And like I talk to myself internally pretty ruthlessly. And I kind of go through cycles. Like, I'm not David Goggins mindset 24/7 necessarily. Like, I fluctuate in cycles of, I get lazy, I get unlazy, I get a little lazy again, with like discipline of exercise, eating healthy, things like that. But honesty, integrity, doing what I say I'm going to do is really important to myself. And then helping people through drug addiction and alcoholism is a really tough thing, because drug addicts and alcoholics are very difficult to deal with, and you really can't help somebody in that realm without telling them the truth about their situation. When somebody loved me enough to cut all the bullshit and just tell me the raw, uncut truth about who I was, what I was doing, how I was affecting people around me, how I was affecting myself, like really told me to stop being a victim about my situation, is when the light really came on in my head and I really started to actually make some improvements. And so that's the way that I like to help people. And I don't know if people really like it or not, but I believe that if I'm going to help somebody, I need to love them enough to tell them the truth about their situation and what's happening. And so I'm not extremely, I don't know if I would be described as loving in that sense, but because it doesn't feel like it to people, but to me, it's the most loving thing that I could do. If I love you, I'm going to tell you the truth and really try and help you. If I don't love you, like I just kind of, don't care, right? But helping people, is something that I do enjoy doing, but I think that it really starts with that person, just like with alcoholism and drug addiction, is that person really wanting to help themselves, and so we have a ton of people who, as I'm sure you, who reach out to us and want to get started investing in real estate, or, they want to become financially free, or they want to quit their job. But most people, unfortunately, are unwilling to do what's required to actually accomplish that. Everybody has this dream. Everybody, it always sounds good, but when it comes time for somebody to be raw and honest with themselves and actually have some discipline and put things in place and actually take the action to get there, most people, unfortunately, are unwilling to get there. And so my favorite people to help are the people, who are desperate, who are like in my shoes, where you got nothing to lose. They're willing to put everything on the line. They're willing to listen to the accountability, the raw and cut truth, and they're willing to do that with themselves ultimately as well. Because I truly think that, for anybody who's looking to do anything great or looking to accomplish something big, unless you're willing to do those things, it's kind of pointless for somebody to try and help you. Because if you're unwilling to hear that, if you're unwilling to hold yourself accountable, if you're unwilling to do what's required, then it's kind of a waste of time.
Yeah, and I'll be the first one to admit, like you had talked about the peaks and valleys of your energy, and I'm the same way. I mean, I think everybody is, and that's where we're big proponents of having your vision written down and updating it all the time, because it should be a living, breathing document. But even myself, like we've had transition year of exiting a 10-year business partnership, really launching the Generations of Wealth movement, trying to grow our real estate holdings, all these things. I actually exited we're going to start talking about raising capital, but I exited a lending company. So my business partner and I ran a hard money lending company for 10 years, and all with raised private capital. And same thing, right? Like there's some days where I look at the decisions that were made in the last year, and am I doing it right? Am I not doing it right? And I'm just as blunt as you are. And I really like when people just tell it to me straight. No fluff. Don't bullshit me. Just what are you seeing? And I think that is important as we segue into capital raising, to be that blunt person when raising money, because I don't tell people what they want to hear. I tell people what I feel is the truth and is going to protect them, and they get to make a decision. But talk a little bit about how you raise capital, and are you doing syndications specifically for deals as the deals come up, or are you?
Yeah,
I guess
so
just start at the beginning.
Sure. So they're basically single asset syndications or funds, right? However, what we do is we set up the structure prior to having the deal identified at this point. What we've done previously is find the deal, set up the syndication and the paperwork, then take it down. But now that we've built,
those timelines get very short, don't they?
yeah, so they're very short, number one. Number two, we have to, it's like a new job every single time that it comes up, right? And so after we did our first couple, basically what we said was, hey, let's just streamline it. Let's not, try and figure out different splits, different fees, different things per deal. Let's just say we're 80-20 split. Here's the fees. Here is the projected returns for deals that we're looking for. Let's go ahead, create the paperwork, create everything. And then once we identify the deal, we already have everything ready to go. We have some capital. We can raise the rest on the, based on the deal, get it closed, and we'll just open the next one. And so that's how we're doing it now. And they're always just going to be like single asset funds. Maybe it'll be a portfolio of 2 or 3 properties that we're buying together or something, but it's not going to be an open-ended evergreen fund. currently. And so right now, that's what we are doing is 506B, Reg D, just a blind pool fund right now for that single asset that we're about to buy. But we have it all on our PPM and subscription agreements and business plan on exactly what we're looking for and the deals that'll meet these projected returns.
Can you explain 506B and what that means to people versus 506C? And because a lot of people don't understand Reg D filings at all, and you don't have to go into a long dissertation.
Sure.
By the way, neither one of us are attorneys, and we're not giving you any legal advice.
Right.
And,
nor CPAs. But
correct.
So we've done both. We've done a 506C, and it is a fund with the SEC that's regulated by the SEC. And what the C does is it allows you to publicly market the fund. So we can go on social media. We can go out here and we can publicly market this fund out to prospective investors. Now, with this, though, you can only accept accredited investors into that fund. They have to show proof that they're accredited via, a third party such as an attorney or CPA or something like that. With the 506B, you cannot publicly market the fund, but what you can do is raise capital from friends and family, and you're allowed to have accredited and non-accredited investors in that fund. I think you can have up to like 30 or something odd non-accredited investors invest with you in the fund. And we've done B because we do have some friends and family and relationships that are non-accredited, but for the most part, it actually is accredited investors who are actually investing when you really look at the percentages.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted you to go through that is we've done the same thing over the years. We've raised in both types of funds. And in a B, essentially the SEC wants to make sure you have a relationship with that person. And that's why they don't allow the advertising. But other than that, they're very, very similar. And there is not one that's better or worse. It just depends what your goals are for your raise.
Yeah.
So we had a debt fund for the lending company, so it was open-ended. I mean, we could raise and put people in, take people out, and as soon as that money was raised, I mean, we were lending it out, putting it on the street through the hard money company. So it was a different way of raising money because we didn't have to wait for a project. If we found somebody that was ready to commit that day, do the paperwork and away we go. And it is different to even now, as I exited the hard money lending company and business, I still raise private capital for my own real estate deals. Well, now we're back to the timelines. You find somebody that has money, we don't have a deal right now. Or vice versa. We have a deal, now we got to find the money.
Well, that's why we started doing it this way is because we've had a couple of deals under contract for this current fund, but the fund's open, right? So we can get paperwork signed, we can accept capital, and that capital until it's deployed into a deal can go into high interest. Like right now you can get like 5% interest on your money in like a savings or a checking account, and so we can put the capital there, still be able to have the investors earn a return while it's sitting and waiting to be deployed, but then we can deploy it all once we have the deal, we're closing, and then we'll just start the new one up even without the deal identified to streamline that process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And I'm glad you explained that to the audience because I was going to ask you that question is what do you do with the funds, or do you just take commitments from people but not collect the funds until the project is ready to go? But you cover that perfectly.
Yeah, most people, like, we're not maxing out currently, that the goal would be to be at a point where we're doing that in the future. But right now we're not maxing out the fund with capital raised prior to having the deal, but some people are ready to commit. Right now, even without the deal identified, they're ready to invest it. We can put it in there. They can still earn a return, and then we'll deploy it when we have the deal and close on it. But so it's not like we fill it up prior. A lot of people do commit, but they're not ready to put the capital in until the deal is there. And so a lot of it does come after we, find the deal and we're ready to close.
So you're still running a real estate brokerage, is that right?
Yep, we are. It doesn't require a ton of work from us, but we're running it.
I was just going to ask about the babysitting aspect of realtors, and
It's not too bad.
no,
The way we run it is different than most people. We're not running like Keller Williams or anything like that. Most of the agents with TRE, like 90% of them are true, what we call entrepreneurs, true entrepreneurs, right? Real estate entrepreneurs. They're out there doing their own thing. They're working with their clients. They're buying their own deals. They're wholesaling their own deals. Most of them are out there just doing their own thing. So it's not like we're having to babysit, but we do bring on new agents who want to learn this stuff and want to get into this, way of life. And we have an amazing partner and friend, and her name's Doreen. She works with us and she oversees the entrepreneur success department. So she runs all the classes, the coaching for the new agents who come in. And that's where a lot of it really is. All the experienced entrepreneurs are not very needy. So there's really not a whole lot of babysitting, and the way that we've set it up, it really is to provide, autonomy to them to be able to go out and just do their own thing.
No, I love that, because the traditional real estate brokerage is kind of a revolving door of new people coming and going. And I've carried a broker's license for, I don't know, 12, 13 years. And I absolutely have zero desire to use it. In fact, I don't list my own properties because I don't like dealing with buyers. I really don't.
Yeah.
Like I
No, I
love,
hear you.
I'm a deal junkie. I want to be out making deals, and I have no problem paying other agents to sell stuff.
We're the same way.
And I think a lot of people would think that we're wrong in that decision because we're leaving money on the table. But the reality is the highest and best use of my time is to go find the next deal instead of trying to save 5 or 6% commission on what's already ready for market.
Yeah. And like you said, it's not good for you, right? Like I'm the same way. I was never the traditional real estate agent. I only got my license because my partner Matt made a big deal about it when we had the brokerage. He was like, "You really need your license." It's since expired because I don't really need it. But going through, because I was just investor, like Matt and I were just investing in deals. And so when we flipped our first property and we were selling it to a traditional buyer, it drove me crazy because I was used to wholesaling deals, dealing with investors. Like, here's a price, take it or leave it. You want it or not, we'll take the non-refundable, earnest money deposit. And it's probably not good that I list properties either, because I would get very annoyed with a lot of the BS that's involved and probably do something that I shouldn't do. And so it's just best to have somebody who's good at that, deal with that. And like you said, you focus on the higher paying activities.
Absolutely.
It's the same reason why you don't make your own clothes as well, right? Like, I mean, you could save money by making your own clothes too, but do you do it?
That took me a long time to get through that mindset of even cutting your own grass or, doing your own house cleaning and things of that nature. It's a mindset shift, but when you do get to that point, you never want to go back, because that $8.25, job, $8.25 job that's now $15 an hour. I mean, what do you think your time is worth? You don't have to put a number out there, but I know what I believe my time is worth. And it's a little bit north of $15 an hour. It's, so anything that we can hire out that saves us time. And that's one of my favorite quotes. And I don't remember who said it, but the one thing that makes every human equal is we all have 24 hours in a day. And what you choose to do with those 24 hours is what makes the difference between success and failure.
And I'm not perfect at it by any means. I do a lot of stuff that, is definitely not worth my time. However, I'm kind of a control freak, and I want things done my way a lot of times. And so I still do a lot of stuff that I shouldn't do, but there are certain things that I don't enjoy doing that I will absolutely practice that principle.
Well, and there's also certain things that I like doing. I mean, some days I just want to shut my brain off and go to a job site and tear something apart or put something together. But there's a difference being able to choose to do it versus having to do it. Because, like we have a job site where we had to take down a bunch of trees. And hell, I like firing up the chainsaw and cutting down trees. But the good thing was, after we cut them down, I didn't have to clean them up. I just had fun cutting them down. And I'm like, okay, guys,
have at it.
Have a nice rest of the day. I'm out of here,
Yeah. And I mean, the deals, So going back to deals, right? Like, I hear a lot of people try and make sense of deals by them doing the work too, right? And these are like, oh, well, I'll manage the property. So, now the deal makes sense because I'm not paying out a management fee. Or I'm bringing on a partner who's a contractor and he's going to do the work and we're going to save on XYZ. And now the deal makes sense. And those deals that you have to make sense of in that way, where like you're going to be working for free, are not good deals, in my opinion. And that's something that I had to learn over the headache of buying bad deals for a long time that we made a lot of money on here in Austin, but they don't cash flow. The house here in Austin, the duplex here in Round Rock, all these smaller deals do not cash flow, even with good debt on them and at the low prices we bought them at. But like a lot of people try and make sense of deals by them doing the work, for free. And your deals should be able to support hiring good contractors, hiring good management companies, hiring a CPA, hiring a bookkeeper. Like these are all things, the deals that you want to buy should be able to support and still provide you a good return after all those things are paid for. But I mean, these are also the same people who say they want passive income and then they want to go, manage, a property for when they could just pay somebody $80 a month to do it.
Yeah, they need to Google the definition of passive.
Right.
For sure. Well, Alex, I know that you do some training for people as well, right?
Yes, sir. So we put on monthly boot camps. It's called the One Deal Away Boot Camp. It's virtual. It's over a 3 to 4 day period, depending on which ticket you get. But in this boot camp, it's me walking you through the process of finding a deal, underwriting a deal, negotiating the deal, and sending an offer on the deal in 3 days. As you know, real estate is not that complicated. A lot of people make it complicated. I break it down. We join via Zoom. It's through a Tuesday through Friday. And the next one's August 13th through the 16th. And over this 3 to 4 day period, I'm going to walk you through the entire steps. You're going to have action steps that you take every single day. You're going to bring it back. I'm going to help you through the process, help you negotiate it. And by the end of that third day, you're going to send an offer on a deal that you found, underwritten, negotiated, and made an offer on. And then on the fourth day, we look at more deals, negotiate more deals, and answer questions about raising capital, how to set all that stuff up. But the tickets are really cheap. General admission ticket's only $225. The VIP ticket is $497. And for your viewers, we'll actually give them 50% off any ticket tier that they want. 50% off with coupon code PBR. If you go to that link, One Deal Away.
Okay. Well, we'll have a link at thegenerationsofwealth.com/money, since we're talking about capital raising. So thegenerationsofwealth.com/money, and you'll be able to go in there. And then if you have to enter a coupon code after you go through that link, it's PBR. And the reason it's PBR is because we were talking about bull riding before the show started. And so Alex and I thought that would be a good coupon code.
Yeah, it's perfect. And it's for those who want to take action. You're gonna learn a lot at this boot camp. We have tremendous feedback from everybody who attends. Like, we're covering a ton of information, but this is really for those who are serious, like I was talking earlier, are ready to take action, ready to get dirty. And I'm going to take you through the process in 3 days and show you how simple this really is to go out there and find deals.
Well, that's awesome, man. I want to be respectful of your time, so I want to make sure we don't go long here, but I wanted to go back to something you said earlier, and it was, with God, there is no fear, right? One of the things that I get every week, in fact, I had a call from a woman from North Carolina this week, and she's in a bad deal, doesn't know how to get out of it, and she's afraid. Like, she doesn't know what to do, and she's locked up with fear. And my advice to her, she does not know her numbers. She absolutely could not tell me what her income, expenses, cash flow, nothing. And she's looking for solutions. And I think it's important that we all, whatever faith we have or believe in or don't have, at all, I wanted to reiterate what you said earlier. Like, you got to internally talk to yourself in a way that's going to take action, but don't be afraid. So
yeah,
I
absolutely. And no wonder she's riddled with fear. She has no knowledge about her situation. I'd be riddled with fear too. If I woke up today and knew nothing about any of my deals, I'd be freaking out.
Well, her lenders better be riddled with fear because, it's not a great situation, but there is ways out of everything if you just take action, move forward, and 99% of the time, the fear it's all bullshit anyways.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's all made up. Anytime I was ever fearful about anything, even if that fear came true, it never happened exactly the way I was imagining it in my head. It was always way worse, in this made up scenario in my head.
Yeah, 100%. Well, is there anywhere that people can follow you on socials or anything like that?
Yep. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook at Real Alex Coffman, AlexCoffman, and would love to connect with anybody here, help out however we can. We're looking to grow. We know that we need more great partners like Derek and all the listeners here. So if you ever need anything, reach out. We'd love to connect with you.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for giving us your time today at the Generations of Wealth podcast. And to everybody listening, if you have missed previous episodes, go to thegenerationsofwealth.com. All of the episodes that have been released are there. We've got a big, wide variety of awesome guests on a lot of different topics. And until the next show, go out, live your vision, love your life. See ya.
Thank you for joining us on another insightful episode of Generations of Wealth. May your newfound knowledge help you in leveling up your own strategies to get through the many obstacles to your money-making processes and bring you much closer to the financially secure life you truly deserve. Continue filling up your accounts and further polish your financial tactics by listening to more episodes of the podcast at thegenerationsofwealth.com. Because in your wealth-building journey, there is no other way to go but up, giving you the chance to finally live your vision, love your life. That's all for now. See you on the next one.